Hey everyone and welcome to another Warframe video. Barraketeer, our favourite assault trader, was here last week and he brought with him a new weapon. But you know, it's a barrow weapon, so it's going to be awful, right? Well, no, we got the Prisma Twin Gremlins, which is the special version, and the standard one is one you get from killing 4 and Krolon series. It does rock a slightly reduced base damage of 27, but while it does have that reduced base damage, it has a much better physical damage split, almost entirely split between Puncture and Slash, with a bit of impact thrown into the mix. It's a pretty good reason for that lower base damage though, much higher crit and a higher crit damage multiplier, which means that this weapon's actually crit viable now, especially with how good those Prime Pistol crit mods are. Mix that though with the better status chance of 23%, and you have a weapon that is crit and status viable. Larger magazine, more max ammo, faster reload, better fire rate, better accuracy. The list goes on and on with just how many better, how many upgrades basically it gets over the standard weapon. But for all of that, the mastery requirement does go from 5 to a much higher 11. So how did I end up going about modding these Prisma Twin Gremlins? Well, we got four on here, which is going to be 5V polarities. Pretty much standard on most secondaries these days. Then we're going to start off with Hornet Strike for pure damage. We're going to go for Barrel Diffusion for multi-shot. Lethal Torrent for extra multi-shot, as well as a bit of extra fire rate, which is really nice on this thing. Then we're going to go with the primed crit mods, Prime Pistol Gambit to bring us up to 66% crit chance, and Prime Target Cracker to bring it up to 4 times critical damage multiplier, which is really, really nice. And then we're going to work on our elementals. If I'm against the Corpus, I'm probably going to go Pistol, Pestilence, and Scorch for gas damage. If I'm against armored enemies, I'm going to switch out Scorch for Jolt. In fact, pretty much everything else I'm just going to go with Pistol, Pestilence, and Jolt for corrosive damage. And then the last mod is kind of whatever you really want to do, to be honest. If you're really accurate and you're aiming down sights a lot, you could use Hydraulic Crosshairs to bring up that crit chance quite a bit. You could use Sharpened Bullets to get more damage on kill. You could use another elemental. Personally, I would kind of recommend against it. Once you start doing this, let's just confirm that and go back in again. You start getting I've got gas and electricity on here right now. That's gas, impact, puncture, slash, and electricity you can get from a proc, so you're diluting your procs down. And that's even more of a problem, let's say if we switch these two around. When you're running corrosive, because if you're running corrosive and heat, you're going to be splitting your procs between corrosive and heat, so you're going to get less of the corrosive procs. So normally what I will do, I'll run corrosive, and then I'll run either of the other mods that I said, Hydraulic Crosshairs or the Sharpened Bullets, or I will run Auger Pact, which is actually what I do most often, which is going to give us more straight corrosive damage, which is really, really nice. Especially when you combine that with the procs from gas as well. It makes the gas procs really, 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 really tasty against the Corpus. So this is pretty much how I ended up going about modding it. You could do some other bits and pieces. You could switch out Auger Pact for flight speed mods, if I can remember what it's actually called. I'm scanning through trying to remember what the thing's called. Lethal Momentum. And that kind of, it speeds up the rounds, but it doesn't make it quite hit scan, but it's very, very close to, actually. These things fly fairly quickly to begin with, I think. Yeah, so that does help. But personally, this would be the build that I go for. And pretty much I use this build on most of my secondary weapons. It's exactly the same build as I've got on my Externatos, and they have done me a world of good since I've ever had, since I first got them, so this is what I would go for. So what do I think of the Prisma Twin Gremlins? Do I think they're worth whacking those Former onto? Yes, I really do. These things are amazing. In fact, I'm gonna say these things are the strongest bullet hose weapons out there. I know that's a pretty strong thing to say, but the thing is, during my testing, the time to kill between these and the Axolotl Primes is about equal with the same builds. Even the fact that it has 9 less base damage than the Primes. However, because the Primes are mostly impact, the damage split from the Prismas actually scales better against more heavily armoured targets. But where the Prismas really take the lead is the fact the Axoletos only have a 1 out of 5 ribbon disposition, and the Prismas have 5 out of 5. Which means that with a good ribbon, the Prismas can get some seriously good numbers on those rolls. So, you know, get crit chance, crit damage, multi-shot or whatever. And these things pull way ahead of the Axoleto Prime. The thing is, it's going to come down to that old argument of theoretical versus actual DPS. Theoretically, the Prisma Twin Gremlins do more than the Axoleto Primes. But, because they have the flight speed on the projectiles, where the Axoletos don't, the application of damage is going to be better on the Prismas than the Gremlins. It's like the whole Bolter Prime versus Soma Prime argument back in the day. However, if you are accurate and get to know the speed of the projectiles and you can adjust your fire for that, the Prismas are going to shred anything you take them up against. Personally, I really like these things. I've always enjoyed bullet hose weapons, and the fact that these are projectile and not hit scan makes me like them even more, because it feels like I've earned the damage I've put out. I recommend putting the former on these if you like this sort of weapon. They are going to deal with everything you can put it up against. So I hope you enjoyed my look at the Prisma Twin Gremlins. Sorry it's taken so long to come out. Been having some blue screen problems and you know, my graphics card completely died on me. My RAM's also dying. It's all going wrong basically. However, I might have that sorted now. I mean, I've got replacement parts coming next week. So more videos are going to be coming soon. But for now, many thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.